Yes. So thank you. You can see my slides, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. So I want to do research about Gen AI on my student. So the title is like critic on Gen AI critic. Will I use when you disagree with me? So here's the idea. Okay, so we heard a lot about critical thinking. In that, we have to encourage students to be critical when they interact with AI. However, until now, the literature is not clear how to help them to be critical thinking when they use AI, because sometimes I think that is like a fad, like some hype. Because if a person is good at critical thinking, so with or without AI, they already be critical. So the background is that I integrate critical thinking in the sense that in the unit's marketing research method in the last semester, I designed two assignments in which after the student do their work, they will paste their work into ChatGPT, ask for its critic. Then they will critic the critic of ChatGPT. So here are the steps. Let me make it. Okay, here's the three steps. The first step is they do their work normally. The second step is that I create a prompt based on certain elements I will share with you immediately. And then students unanimously, they use the same prompt, they put into ChatGPT, ask for ChatGPT critic. So in that prompt, basically, ChatGPT has to critic. This means that do not agree with their work, but critic. And finally, student will critic what ChatGPT has critic their work, given the template. Here's the instruction of the critic. So the critic the student do is that they have to elaborate why they think ChatGPT critics are not convincing and that their research objectives will be achieved with their current research content. Assignment one is the poster. Assignment two is the survey questionnaire because this unit is the research method. And then here's the prompt. I'm sorry, I talked too fast. I because lightning fast. I'm sorry. So here's the prompt. I create the prompt based on the Google template 2024. So you are a university student currently enrolled in the marketing research method unit. This component is the persona based on the template. You're assigned a task in which you have to critique the enclosed poster. Your critic must elaborate on why you think the research objectives may not be achieved with the current research content in the poster. So this is the M. The third component, your critic, will be read by university students, so this is a recipient. Your critic must follow academic writing, this is a theme, and finally, your critic is the form of the structure essay, this is a structure. So these five elements are the basic of a prompt template. So that is the old version. The new version in the October 2024 right now, they are reduced to four components. Persona, they kept the same. Aim and recipient, they merge into task. Theme, they turn into context, and structure, they turn into format. So basically the same thing, just different wording, different name. So that is the prompt that all students copy paste into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will critique their work based on this prompt. And now, when the students submit the assignment, sometimes there's a concern in how do we do research in our using the student assignments. So let me share with you some of my technique. So in the cover letter, because we know that when students submit something, they as an educator may or may not choose to use the cover letter. So I design my own cover letter. So these are the basic information, name, ID, tutorial assignment. Tutorial is I want to control for the different type of learning environment, not even the tutor. But the items I want to measure, I put in some items here. The first item is more about for students to reflect, to look at their own work. I have made sure that my submission comply with the requirement, just a check for their own learning. I believe that my answer in this assignment has sufficient evidence because I encourage them to use reference citation. It's a research unit. So those two items are more for learning. But the other five items are coming from my research. Let's talk about I understand generative AI technology like ChatGPT have limitation, etc. Those five items belong to the construct knowledge of Gen AI. And I find it interesting because when people do research, I often ask myself, what is the background of their knowledge about Gen AI? If they don't control for that, then the results are not really robust. So I have these five items as a control knowledge of Gen AI technology. This comes from a journal, a Q1, so more or less reliable. And in the critic, when the student critic ChatGPT, also the template here, I have 3 items. The first item is please indicate whether you agree or disagree that your academic writing ability is sufficient to write this written. This is a control variable, academic writing ability, because some may question that, okay, when a student critic, what if it is confounded by their writing ability, English or something, because it's a Malaysian campus. So that item is for control. But the other 2 items, please indicate whether you agree or disagree that you will consider using ChatGPT for only critic tasks or for any academic task. Because I also ask myself, we often encourage students to use ChatGPT and AI. We have a lot of conditions how AI is used in a specific aspect of a task, a whole task, or prohibit. Then come the next question. What type of assignment that ChatGPT is meant for? So that's why I add 2 items for only critic task or for any academic task. So with these items and also the student performance, I will measure the differences. So here is to be explored. First, I will see the potential difference in each assignment score between male and female, just some exploration, and between Malaysia and non-Malaysian students. In other words, between local and international students. Here's the thing, because we control for knowledge of GenAI technologies. So if there's a difference between local students and international students controlling for the knowledge, then it is not about how much students are aware of or exposed to GenAI, but it's about the difference in the way that university apply or encourage students to use AI. So that difference there is not about ethnicity per se, but actually talk more about a forecast, a difference in program approach. And another thing that I can do that is because at Monash University in general and Monash Malaysia, the international student proportion can take up into nearly 50% of the whole class. So that's why there's enough sample size to use that. And next, I will investigate the potential difference in the intention to use ChatGPT for critic tasks only or for academic tasks in general, with or without controlling for the academic writing and the knowledge of GenAI technologies. Because my background is experiments and survey, so that's why it's a bit detailed like this. And thank you so much for your listening.